Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Hi, Uzi. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, that's good news. That's a great start for presentation. Give me just 1 sec and then we can start. Okay, we're just going to start and I'm going to admit people into the conversation as we go, because that's what multitasking is all about. So thank you so much for joining a Startup Designers webinar. I've seen in the chat that we have people from all over the world today. We have people from Amman and from Dubai. So thank you so much for joining. It's super excited that we have a chance to connect, at least virtually. And we have a great speaker today. So it's a great cause. So if you're not familiar with Startup Designers, I'm going to spend like 5 minutes telling you about the community, and then we're going to go right into the webinar with Hasan. Okay, so welcome again. Thank you so much for being here. If you're worried about this session being recorded, or if you want to share it with your friends, don't worry, it is recorded. We'll have a link in our Facebook Live, which is available right now. Some people are watching through Facebook. This is happening. And as well, if you joined through Meetup, I'm going to send you a direct link to the recording. So don't worry about finding it. So a bit about the people behind the community. I'm Shil, nice to meet you all. And other than myself, there's Ina and Michal and Lishai and Ortal, and everyone has a different role in the community. So I'll start with telling you about our Instagram page that Lishai manages. Our Instagram page is for us a place to share inspiration and beautiful ideas, beautiful imagery between designers to get our motivation and our inspiration up. So you can find us at Startup Designers. And if you like Instagram, if you like design, we'll really appreciate it if you can tag us, if you can let us know of other things we should see and explore and share, and let the world see the beautiful design that we have. Other than that, we also have a newsletter. Our newsletter is led by Michal, and it's in Hebrew, by the way. I apologize if you don't read Hebrew. But for you Hebrew readers, our newsletter is all about maximizing your time. We really believe in FOMO and in being worried about not understanding everything that's going on. So our newsletter is really short, just a few like news and things that happened this week. So you can make sure that you're acquainted with everything, you're on top of your things, and you can go about your day knowing that you're an excellent UX designer and aware of everything that happened. And we also have a mentoring program. So Ina is the manager of our mentoring program, and that's really the jewel of what we do, because we have over 150 active mentors that give from their time to the community and want to see the designers locally here at the moment in Israel excel and become better. So if you are interested in joining the mentorship program, either as a mentor or mentee, we'll really appreciate it. We have different courses. You can be a mentor for a design tool like Figma or Sketch. And you can also be a mentor for someone who wants to create a portfolio or move from an IC role to a managerial role. So there's lots of opportunities. I need to admit that right now, we have a very long waiting list for mentees. So if you are interested in that, bear it in mind. But if you want to be a mentor and give back, we'll really appreciate it. Either way, you can find links to registration. Michal just sent them in the chat. So you can find them in the chat, or you can find them in our Facebook group in the About section. And by the way, you can also find there a link to join the newsletter. And I believe you can also find a link to the Instagram page. Okay, that was a lot of words. So I think we should get started. And I want to tell you more about our speaker today, about Hasan. So if you're not familiar with him, he's multidisciplinary and very passionate about technology, design, and social innovation. He sold his first application while he was in high school, and he worked for several tech startups and founded 2 social initiatives. His work was featured on global and local forums like Forbes magazine, TEDx, Al-Jazeera, OneYoungWorld, Stanford, TheMarker, and many others. Hasan has a BA in communication from IDC-Herzliya, and he has an MBA from the Technion. Today, he works as a product manager at Microsoft, and he leads the strategy and innovation of Hasoub and advises several startups and social initiatives. Hasan, I apologize if I didn't pronounce Hasoub correctly. I'm sure you're going to correct me. And other than that, I'm going to give you the stage. I'm so excited to have you here today. Go ahead.
Hi, hello everyone. Salam. So glad to be with you all, and let's get started. So I would like us to start, please, with something interactive. I'm just going to share my screen. I should be able to share it, right? Yeah. No. Does it mean if you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So let's please get, if you're familiar with Mentimeter, just get on your mobile to menti.com and put the code and let us know what do you think when you hear the word design.
While you're doing that, I'll just mention that if you have any questions, write them in the chat, and at the end of the talk, we'll make sure that Hasan gets all of them.
Okay, keep it going. Let's give it for 1 more minute. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. So I'm super glad to see that problem solving was among the most used ones. Oh, let's give more people writing. So let's give it just 10 more seconds. And then we should start. In the meanwhile, I'll share my screen, my presentation. Okay, so I'll get back to this later and share currently my screen and get back to the result later. Just let me know when you can see my slides.
Wait.
Can you see them?
Yeah.
Just full screen. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so I guess we're all here, we're curious kids. In my case, it was a lot about photography and design. In middle school, I self-learned programming and some graphic design skills, and I worked as an assistant photographer in weddings in the village. So I was so proud of my creations and so happy that with the sensation that I can create something new and actually people can find value in it. I went to middle school in this beautiful old building, and although we didn't have a proper lab there, I was always trying to create things and to experiment. And this feeling of experimenting and the sensation that comes of creating new things went with me all the way. So I continued in high school. I continued to learn new technologies and to learn coding and to create new technological products. And I was always trying to build products that solve some problem to someone. And with that, I continued as everyone who loves computer science. I ended up at the Technion. And along the way, I was always trying to see what's not working in things and try to fix that. And 3 semesters into the Technion, I started to notice that something else is not working, which is my life design. So I decided to drop out of the Technion and find an alternative way. And as anyone who tries to go to seek an alternative way or find an alternative path, it was a true roller coaster. So it has tens of ups and downs, including spending 2 years sleeping behind the fridge of my friends in their apartment, waking up to the prizes and recognitions, then going back, hanging my suit, and enjoying a peaceful dinner. And what also happens while riding roller coasters is that we get the opportunity to see and observe things from a unique and unusual perspectives. And one of the observations I had the opportunity to have is to see how thriving the ecosystem in Tel Aviv then. This is a snapshot of the ecosystem in Tel Aviv back in 2013, where each small circle indicates the number of startups or tech entities or VCs that are in that street or corner. And with that, living in Tel Aviv and going back in the weekends to my village, which looks like this, I literally was living the gap. And that was the trigger of creating Hasoub, a nonprofit that's promoting technology and entrepreneurship within the Arab society. And I'm glad that Hasoub's team today is leading several projects that will help us all live in a more inclusive tech ecosystem and enjoy a more diverse innovation. To me, I think 2 things that helped shape my designer identity the most was the diversity of experiences I got the chance to have, and the chance to be at the intersections of fields, of jobs, of communities, where innovation happens the most. And among those experiences was the ME Lab, the Media Innovation Lab at the IDC-Herzliya. I spent 2 years in the research team in the ME Lab, in the creative learning processes team, where we, from one side, we're exploring HCI, human-computer interaction, and from the other side, we're trying to understand how we can better the learning experiences of kids, especially in making and technology. And that led me to founding Ibtikar, a socio-educational venture promoting maker education for kids. And we partnered with Ministry of Education and with several local municipalities to give affordable makers education to kids in Arab towns and villages. Fast forward to today. Today I'm working as a product manager at Microsoft, and I'm much focused on social innovation and interested in how we can use technologies and design to amplify social impact. So among the ventures and the initiatives I'm helping lead today is the Impact Kitchen, where we're trying to see ways where technology and design can help us create efficient social innovation, whether by using technological tools and solutions, or whether by applying design methods to social problems. Another initiative that we're leading is called Zujaj, which is an initiative that promotes accessibility to public knowledge and information. And now we're partnering with several organizations to lead a project about violence and organized crime in the Arab society, from mapping the problem to giving people actions that they can do to affect and change the situation. So our goal is to apply the design from the use of the design of technological tools to the design of the mechanisms that people can do in order to make a change. A quick initiative that started only 2 weeks ago is we were aware to the problem that the high schoolers currently have with the Bagrut exams, that they need people to help them prepare to the exams, especially due to the COVID-19 circumstances. And we combined, just like literally combined the Google Forms with some simple backend and create a website where people can ask for help and the system can match them with volunteers that can help. It started 2 weeks ago. In 2 days, the website was live, and we now have over 50 volunteers that's giving lessons to high schoolers. And what we're doing now, we're taking the same technological infrastructure and applying it to a different problem, which is giving students who are interested in different learning subjects or higher education to get matched with mentors who can mentor them and give them advice through the studies and the work after. I promised to be giving some notes and insights on cultural and behavioral aspects of design. So I will be sharing some. I would like us to start with this one. I'm not sure just if you can hear my computer voice. Can you hear it? Oops.
No.
Okay. Never mind. I'll skip that. Okay, so this is the game of Aladdin, which I'm sure many of us here grew up playing. Actually, Aladdin was my favorite game as a kid. Not only because he was called Ala, and that's the name I can relate to, but also that the design of the game itself resonates a lot with me. And looking back now, it's interesting how a shape of a window or a drawing on a carpet can affect how much we relate to a product or to a game or to a service. And that came back to me when I was working on Wiqaya, a startup that developed an app to help people in the Arab world adapt to a healthier lifestyle. Where there we had to customize the advices and the recommendations that we give people, and we have to incorporate the cultural aspects into this. So with all the sorrow of giving a recommendation to give a baklava, we had to give such recommendations, knowing that people in these cultures, eat too much of this, especially during the Eid and Ramadan. But that wasn't the only thing, because also in the assessment that we were doing to the users to know their health profile, we used known equations and algorithms to decide to do the risk assessment for the users. And among these equations, there was the use of alcohol consumption, and we knew that we can't approach the Arab world or the communities that are majorly Muslims with such questions. So not only we had to adapt the user experience from the user side, like from the interactive side with such recommendations, but we also had to incorporate the cultural aspects inside the algorithms themselves. Another example is the design of our Arab Angels Club. It's a program by Hasoub to help Arab businessmen and women get into the angel investments and invest in startups. So in that program, it took us a long time to come up with a design to understand the culture of investments in the Arab society in terms of risk taking, in terms of the fields and verticals they're interested in, and etc. So it took us some time to come up with a design that will hopefully work. We're now starting our first cohort, but it shows how we must invest in taking into consideration the cultural aspects of the designs we're doing, whether it's a product or a physical product or a digital product or a service. One more example that involves interaction design is a company that that I advised to that working on a smart carpet, prayer carpet for Muslims. They want to incorporate a digital screen to the carpet that shows verses from the Quran. So while the person is praying, he or she can see the verses from the Holy Quran. And we were thinking about how can people during their prayer interact with this device. And it's interesting because there is a lot of limitations. So some of the limitations are from the prayers, from the fact that prayer can't just move during the entire prayer, to the fact that it was not acceptable to allow people to move between the verses using their legs, which is the most convenient thing, taking into account the product is a carpet. So the first thing that came to mind is let's use the left and right, like some pressure on the left and right legs, feet to get through the pages or through the verses. So again, it took understanding even and reflects on the design itself, even if it's at the cost of the convenience or the technical complexity of the product. Just to give a glance, and we'll share some general thoughts about the Arab world, and the Muslim world. So there is nearly 2 billion Muslims around the world, 1.9, and around 422 Arabs. So Arabic is the 5th most spoken language, and Islam is the 2nd largest religion. And that brings interesting thoughts about how can we design products and services for such communities. So take, for example, Hajj itself, or Hajj is the okay, I forgot the word in English. So Hajj, that where people have a yearly gathering in Mecca, Muslims. So there's approximately 2.5 million people each year, and just trying to imagine, different people coming from different backgrounds, speaking different language. What would an information system, for example, or an updates systems look like in terms of localization, in terms of which language it should present it, or should we use signs and stuff like that, and in terms also of the infrastructure that would support such people in a small space connecting at the same time. Another thing is zakah, for example, which is the money that Muslims pay yearly. It's 2.5% of their earnings, which they donate. So there's a lot of traction now around building systems that will help personalize the zakah and the giving experience for people. It's estimated it's several hundred billions of dollars each year, and it's a lot of money, and a lot of it won't be used efficiently if we don't have the way and the channels to distribute it and also to collect it efficiently. Think also about dating apps for Muslims. So how can we design a dating app, for example? There's like a Mismatch. It's one of the apps that's designed similar maybe to JSwipe, I think, for the Jewish community. And it's interesting to see how cultural aspects integrates into these products. One more example is one that's close to my heart, is a school that a friend of mine, my friend Ahmed from Pakistan, is leading. So there's a huge problem in Pakistan with girls' education, and my friend Ahmed he designed an educational system and started a school where boys pay more than girls as a tuition for schools. And with this extra money, they get more girls into the schools. So boys pay more and girls get it for free or get their studies subsidized. And that's an interesting perspective in terms of design, because how can we design a mechanism or a system where we intentionally create something like this that leads to a bigger social change? I will finish with one last example in this regard, which is the same photo of the school I started with, my middle school. So unfortunately now the school is abandoned and looks like this. It was abandoned. They moved the school and the building was abandoned for several years now. And now at Hasoub, we're taking this building and designing a new innovation center that will be there and will help our community create an experiment and help the kids of our community have the chances and opportunity that many of us didn't have back then. And with that building, with that innovation center and makerspace, we will be putting ourselves on the map. as a community and society, and as designers and social entrepreneurs. I will finish with a final thought on our greater role as designers. So many of us here are designers of technological products and technological products, and I think we're all aware of the impact these technological products are having on our society and on the next generations and on the lives of all of us. So I was thinking, how can we be taking a more active role as designers in affecting these products and making sure they will have the best interest of humanity in the longer term? So how can we take something like emotions and something like engagement and something like health, mental health of people, and incorporate in our designs? I know it sounds big, and I know that big companies are now having serious discussions about this, but I think it also goes down to us as individuals and our role and responsibility to be able to help make that happen and help keep at least our emotional and our emotional aspects unaffected as much as we can through these technologies. The other thing I think that we can help as designers is to help social initiatives and look at the social domain and use our design methods and mindset to help design better social services and products and initiatives. We should not be taking it into granted that we have so much power as designers in the way we think and the way we apply our thinking and the way we iterate and prototype and make things quickly and move quickly. So which a lot of social initiatives and a lot of governmental initiatives lack, and I think we as designers can contribute to that as well. So I wish us all meaningful creations and hope we all create something and design something and put our stamp in this world and together design a better world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry that people confuse themselves, but I'll thank you in the name of everyone. We do have a few questions. Are you okay with answering them?
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, sure. Sorry.
What?
Sorry. Yeah, sure.
Okay, we're doing questions. Okay. So I want to start with my own question, if it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You work for Microsoft. It's a multinational, huge corporation that is well known for the amount of emphasis they put on good design. And in the same time, you're working on very small projects for the Arabic community. I was wondering if you see that this shift towards the importance of design is also happening in the Arabic culture. And what do you think it is right now, or do you think it's going to the same direction as big corporations?
Okay, so I believe, like, when I look at the Arabic heritage and the Muslim heritage where I come from, I see innovation and design at the heart of it, starting from agriculture design and methods that my grandmother and grandfather used, to all the way back to the golden ages, where a lot of innovations that we see now along the history were coming from these regions. So I think innovation and design and this mindset of creating is incorporated in our genes, but I think along the way we kind of lost a lot of it. And I think I see now the shift happening in the Arab world in terms of adapting to new technologies, for example, and in terms of the readiness of infrastructure that we're seeing, which allows people to adapt these in new technologies in terms of technologies, and also pushes the entire society into a more innovative kind of solutions and designs to be applied for also social but also business cases.
Okay, let's move to a more general question. So Michal was asking, what's your favorite project that you worked on so far, and why did you pick that one?
Okay, interesting. So, emotionally, I would say Hasoub, because I think I invested a lot of years developing Hasoub. So just 2 words about Hasoub. I didn't share much about the journey. Hasoub started as a grassroots community. We started from right where I am now, in the basement of my parents' house in the village, as a couple of guys and girls learning technology together and trying to create things together, and grew up into a nonprofit that's now working on several strategic projects. I talked a bit about the investors program, but we also have programs for student entrepreneurship. We have the innovation center, and we have several other initiatives that we're leading. So I would say Hasoub.
Hasoub means computer, right?
Yeah, Hasoub means computer in Arabic, right? Yeah.
Okay, so a similar question from Selena. Maybe not that similar. What's your favorite part about the design process, both as a PM and as an entrepreneur? Maybe it's different things.
Yeah. So, okay. I think that the most exciting part to me in every initiative is the initiating part. So the part where you have to better identify what the problem is and what can, like, the ideation process itself. But I think goes along with that in parallel is bringing the right people to help. So none of these initiatives would have happened without bringing the right people in. And I think it's a blessing to be surrounded with such great people around who are ready to commit and ready to help and ready to contribute. And I think maybe that's the best design. The best part of it is having the privilege to work with such amazing people and to build great things together.
Okay. So another question: how is the design community in the Arabic culture? Is there like startup designers for the Arabic community? Is it like something very talked about? Are there many designers? Tell us more about that.
Okay, so I'm not that expert into that yet, but I know a couple of things about it. So Arabs are known for a good taste in design, that I could say, especially in graphic design. If you can see a lot of the work that Arab designers done is, I see, magnificent. Arabic itself as a language is unique in terms of typography and a lot of things. So that adds to the beauty of the design. And there's a motion of transitioning to more product design and more of design of technologies and stuff. There's a community called Tasmimon that's now growing. Actually, maybe Jamil is here. So Jamil is started this community and initiative, which shares also content in Arabic about design and also tips and interviews with designers. And it's kind of a network for designers and Arab designers.
I have to ask, in Hebrew, we've seen Hebrew typography becoming digital a lot more in the last years. There were like new typography designers that we didn't see a few years before, at least not to that amount. Is there like a rise in digital typography in the Arabic world as well?
Yeah, I think in terms of fonts and in terms of, if that's the question, so we're seeing a lot more fonts being adapted and used in digital formats, and we're seeing a lot of, I would call it Arabic spirit in the designs itself, in terms of the shapes, in terms of the simplicity sometimes of the design or the cultural spirit. Sometimes, like, I see design and know that it's, it feels like it's breathing Arabic culture. So I think we're seeing more of that.
I think that really connects to a different question by Anas. The question is, do you feel there's an importance to use Arabic when you're designing a design for a multicultural audience that might speak English? Do you see like an importance from a cultural aspect to use Arabic?
From what? Sorry, that can't the last sentence.
Do you see like a specific importance other than readability to use Arabic?
Yeah, so as I said, like, sometimes depends on the culture that we're designing to. Personally, I love to create initiatives and products I'm part of in Arabic because I can relate more to them, and specifically that most of them are also directed towards the Arab community. So that's, I think, brings people closer together to see, the initiative name that comes to serve them maybe holds the name in their language. There's a lot of challenges with that, especially sometimes with domain names, because there's a lot of Arabic letters that not pronounceable that well in English, like kha, ha, all these letters. So sometimes challenging, but I think it has its role and importance.
Okay, let's move to a very different question. How do you test your design ideas at early stages to check if it's meeting your target, hitting your target?
Yeah, I think as any design process, rapid prototyping is at the heart of everything. So if I can start, for example, I will take the example of Nadros, the website that helps people that need help in connecting to mentors to help them in the baccalaureate exams, for example. So if I now start to design a system where people should sign in, create accounts, log in, and the system matches them automatically with people that may be able to help, etc., it will take a lot of time. But if I can come up, and that's what we did, we create a Google form, we create the WhatsApp group for the volunteers. We engage the volunteers into the process of designing the product. So they were, part of deciding on the design and stuff like this. So this creates more commitment. It's a lot about also incorporating the sense of community in such initiatives. So, and then we just create a website, like a very minimal server, a backend that takes the list from the Google Sheet and displays it in a nice way, an interactive way where people can easily access it. So I think what I'm trying to say is, we can if we can minimize the time to get to customers and to put it in their hands and to get their help as well in terms of feedback and in terms of actual engagement, that would be priceless.
Amro was asking, which design skills should the product managers have? We're changing the subject a bit.
Okay. Yeah, I think in product management, okay. So I think number one is just like a collection of skills is leadership, because it's a lot about leading people without actually leading them. So you're not managing people, but you manage the product, and you should provide sufficient evidence sometimes, and you should be able to see the bigger picture and communicate the vision, which is also, a big part of it is the ability to communicate it and to bring people along. And other abilities like the ability to plan and to bring partners and other stuff, I think comes with these things.
So I think something to close with that would be awesome to hear from you with all your experience is, what are like the best tips to bring to young entrepreneurs?
Okay,
what would you like to know like 5 years ago?
What is it?
What would you hope that you have known like 5 or 10 years ago?
Okay, so it's a bit, I think most of it again is about the people who you're doing it with. And 5 years ago, if I would be more focused on that, I think I've done several things differently in terms of which people you're doing it, but how you're doing it sometimes with these people. So in terms, we see a lot of entrepreneurs, get early discussing the equities and stuff like that. And I think, sometimes it creates it's distancing people sometimes, discussing this. It's important to discuss it and to have it to have a clarity on it early on. But I think I would love to focus on creating value together and figuring out the rest along the way. That's if it makes sense.
Awesome. So if we don't have any more questions, I think we can go about our evening.
Yeah, it's if Shir, I was interested also to hear some of the thoughts, if anyone would like to share about our role as designers. So beyond our daily job of creating engaging and delightful products, how do you think we can utilize our design toolkit into making the world a better place, especially in helping social initiatives? If anyone would love to take. And in the meanwhile, I have just one more thing I want to close with.
Yeah.
It's an experiment. Let's try and see if that works. Okay, so oops, a minute. Yeah, if you can, please go again to the same link and answer the same question again. Let's see what happens. It's a live experiment. One more minute or 30 seconds. Okay. Okay, so I think it was a fun experiment, and actually this just try to get back to the previous one. Yeah, so actually this was maybe my point actually, kind of. So maybe trying to transition our mindset from to be focused more on the technology and solution. The problem solver is always at the heart of it, so I would keep that. But I think more about technology and stuff like this and the experience and the visuals, and shift that mindset more into the problems that design is fixing, is helping fixing, and the social impact that we can create as designers. So I'm delighted to see that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you, Hasan, so much for joining us. I'm so happy I got the chance to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you for an excellent talk. And have a great evening. See you all next week.
Salam. Thank you, everyone. And feel free to reach me on social media or on email. I'll just share it here in the chat. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.